Hey, what's up, my people? John Middlekauff, new YouTube channel. What I need you to do, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, share with your friends. Appreciate everyone that has. It's the podcast, 3 and Out. You can listen wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple, Spotify. We got you covered. Also, thevolume.com. We got merch right here. FlexFit hat. Go to thevolume.com. Get yourself a 3 and Out hat. Well, I just recorded a podcast with Coward, and I was headed to eat dinner, and I looked down at my phone that the 49ers will release Arik Armstead, who was one of the last Trent Baalke draft picks in 2015, 17th overall pick. They went back-to-back years, him and then Buckner, 2 teammates from Oregon, and obviously one of the longest tenured 49ers, and has been a key guy for this 49ers run under Kyle Shanahan. And my first reaction was shocked would be probably too strong. I think one thing that goes on in the NFL starting at the combine right up to basically tomorrow when you start negotiating with other teams' free agents is you try to take guys on your team that you like a lot. And Arik Armstead isn't liked. He's loved in the building by the coaches, by the front office, and by the team. He is constantly, every year, he is nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He is viewed in their organization like Cam Hayward is with Seattle or Pittsburgh. He's just a core member of their operation. And they had a video this year, and any Niner fan remembers it, when he was nominated again, that basically every guy on the defensive side of the ball and a lot of defensive linemen basically recorded a video for him, and they were in tears because of what he has meant for them in their careers on the Niners. But there's also a balancing act of the business side of things, and he's been injured the last couple of years. In 2022, he missed 8 games. This year, he played in 12. Now, he was able to come back for the playoff run and obviously played pretty well in the Super Bowl. But this is where the business side gets complicated because his cap hit this year was scheduled to be $28 million. They were going to pay him $18 million in cash alone. And you get to the point where is his body, do you trust it? Because the last couple of years, he has not been able to stay on the field. But you love the guy. You love his impact when he is on the field. You love what he means to your young defensive players, his leadership that he provides. But this is Andy Reid's been doing this for 25 years. And he's not signing everybody. Right? Chris Jones, one of the best players in the league, doesn't have a choice. $95 million. Right? But historically, Belichick got rid of a lot of guys. And it's never easy. Because some guys are cut, and I said this last week, like Jamal Adams. You can't get rid of him fast enough if you're Seattle. Denver, Sean Payton getting rid of Russell Wilson doesn't lose an ounce of sleep making that move. These are difficult. These are really, really tough. And my guess is, by the time you're watching this, I don't have that much information beside basically Jordan Schultz tweeting that he will be released. They tried to get him to take a pay cut. And my gut was, in the season, when he was injured a lot, you start looking at his contract, like he's owed a lot of money coming up from Sacramento, loves the region. I thought maybe, he's made a ton of money. Up right now, looking at his contract historically, he's made $81 million in the NFL. So I thought maybe he'd take a little haircut to stay on the team. This is what I was thinking before I even knew that they would ask him to take a pay cut. You could kind of add up who's making a lot, who's older. They got to pivot a little bit. I thought, yeah, I could see him taking a little haircut, incentivize his contract. And then maybe he's looking at the free agent market. All these franchise tag guys are getting huge contracts. Let's face it, on a yearly basis, the guys that actually hit free agency, especially defensive linemen, are not great. And you look at some of these contracts players have signed over the last, 6-7 years as the cap has exploded. I thought J.J. Watt was done. And the Cardinals gave him basically $25 million. Von Miller. I was like, this guy's hanging on. Goes to LA, resurrects his career. Buffalo gives him $55 million. And there are so many Shanahan guys coaching throughout the league that who's to say that you can't get Houston to overpay you a little bit, a number that the 49ers were just not prepared. Now, I'm not a capologist. I can't break it all down on looking on the internet. His dead cap is pretty high. It's like $26 million. Now you can post date it. I'm sure they will do some finagling, but this was, to me, this move is just, you've been injured. We can't pay you what we originally paid you for to do when we thought you were always going to be healthy. Because when you're on the field, we value you. You're a really good player. You're like an incredible role player who's so unique because you're huge. He's 6'7", 300 pounds. He can interior pass rush, which actually in a weird way getting easier to find. There's more of them, but it's a very, very, it's teams put a premium on doing that, rushing over the guard in the center, and he can do that. But if I can't rely on you to play half the games, we got a problem. And I just, 49ers have a lot of high price guys. And because like they can't do this to Deebo Samuel, not that they would, but like they just signed that contract a couple years ago. Kittle makes a lot. Like he's not going anywhere. And obviously the Bosa, the Fred Warner, Trent Williams, that this is the collateral damage of the cap. And let's face it, the 49ers are in this position with this rookie quarterback contract. Brock Purdy makes under $1 million. You got to be ultra aggressive, and you can't just go, well, let's just bring them back because we can afford it. Like you can't operate like that. You got to be progressive when it comes to like, wait, we get rid of this, we save a little cap space, maybe we can make this move, which is not possible with him on the team. And like I said, this is not an easy move for the 49ers, right? Like it sucks today if you're an Eagle fan. You lost Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, like the heartbeat of your team, in 6 or 7 days. Now, those guys were tired. So you just, what are you going to do? Right. But it was pretty clear. Like Kelce was, if he was going to play next year, he was going to play on the Eagles. One thing I heard at the combine was like, yeah, Fletcher Cox, he's going to play somewhere else next year. And he just decided, like, fuck this. I'm out. See ya. I've made a ton of money. I'm out. Armstead was like, I like playing for the Niners. I like living close to my Sacramento fam, being able to go to Kings games. But I ain't taking a haircut when I'm looking at all this cap space. I'm looking at all these cats that have been around me and know my value that, yeah, I'm going to get a contract that, probably shouldn't get. But hell, that's free agency. It's why you always want to hit it if you're a guy like this, right? Because most of the high-end guys have already been signed. Dude from Baltimore never hits the market. Chris Jones never hits the market. That's why Christian Wilkins right now with the Dolphins, or not the Dolphins for long, look at his lips. He's like, I am about to get paid. He's going to get like what Chris Jones got. Not because he's as good as Chris Jones, because he's going to be the best defensive lineman on the market. People are going to be bidding for his services. Then all of a sudden the dust settles. Someone's going to give Arik Armstead 2 years, $30 million and $20 million guaranteed. So I think you're going to see some names over the next couple of days that you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. But that's the business. And that's the complications of trying to fit together a team once you have guys making a lot of money who are older. And sometimes you see like, God, this guy's been to 4 Pro Bowls, or God, this guy's been a 7-year starter. They just cut him. It's not because they think he sucks. It's not because they think he can't play. It's because the finance doesn't quite equal the production and the age. And there's always an element in football, unlike the other sports, where I don't care who you are. You can be the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. You're like, yeah, we're going to try to get rid of a guy, or at least have him take a major pay cut, or we'll cut you a year too early than a year too late. Like we don't want to have the year where you only play 3 games of the 17. And we're paying you $18 million in cash, and you're taking up $25 million in cap space. Like that's a fucking disaster. And that's how all these teams operate. Doesn't mean they're always going to get it right. And sometimes you cut a guy and he goes and plays for someone else and he plays 17 games and he has the best year of his career. That's no one can predict the future. But I've been in enough of these meetings. I talk to these guys just around the league. That's just the way they think. Because more often than not, when the signs are there, it's like, he kind of hasn't looked. Like, look back at Von Miller, right? Let's look back at Von Miller. He's a good example. Now, he's a much better player than Arik Armstead. But these older guys, it's very, very, it's not going to be advantageous for most teams to sign guys that another team is cool with getting rid of. Like, why are they cool with getting rid of that guy? Because there's more risk there than there is knowledge that this is 100% going to work. Like, there's risk with the Chiefs giving Chris Jones that contract, but like they don't have a choice. They have to take that risk because he's still an elite player. He's their guy. He's not that old. And listen, sometimes I hate saying pay for past performance, but there's an element of that there. When you don't win the Super Bowl, and the 49ers did not win the Super Bowl, you get a little more cutthroat. And that's clearly what they just did with Arik Armstead.